Hi everyone. I wanted to make this video today to be able to categorize the 4 different types of analytics that exist. Now, the 4 different categories can actually be used in a variety of analytical positions, such as a product analyst, such as an operational analyst, such as a marketing analyst, such as a reward analyst, or simply a data analyst, a business analyst, business intelligence analyst. So really, these 4 categories of analytics apply to any form of analytics in one way, shape or form, as we will see. I would like to be able to describe and define the 4 different categories so that it could be helpful to anybody that's eager to learn about data analytics and the forms that it might take. Now, the first one is the foundational form of analytics that any analyst will be familiar with, which is to be able to describe the trends, the patterns, and the relationships that exist within a data set. So it's called descriptive analysis, plainly put, and it's how you perceive it to be, which is to describe the trends, patterns, or relationships that exist within a data source that a company might own or is using to supplement their operations and leverage their business marketing position. And that's really it. That is descriptive analytics. And so an analyst might use a business intelligence tool such as Tableau, such as Power BI, such as ClickView, to be able to visualize the trends and the patterns, as well as the relationships that might exist within a data source that a company owns. The second form of analytics is diagnostic analytics. Now, this is a second tier or the second layer of analytics that builds upon the foundation. Diagnostic analytics is to go one step beyond and answer the question as to why those particular trends or patterns or relationships exist within a data source. Analysts that are familiar with diagnostic analytics understand the impact that a variety of data sources, when pulled together, can have. And what I mean by that is when a data analyst is able to create relations with a variety of data sources to provide an in-depth analysis for an organization, they will be able to identify and define the causality, which in other words is the reason as to why those trends or those patterns or those relationships exist. And so it's really being able to unpack the reasons as to why we're seeing what we're seeing, or why a stakeholder has observed what they're seeing. The third form of analytics is predictive analytics. It's also something that's very closely related to its title, which is to be able to predict a form of analytics. It is to be able to predict, rather, betterly put, it's a form of analysis that equips stakeholders, equips businesses to be able to predict and forecast a particular genre of analysis that they are seeking or sought out. An example I can give is a retail company would like to be able to forecast and predict the amount of quantity of a particular product or category of products that they should be stocking within a season or a cycle throughout a year. Really quickly, as a side benefit, the difference between a seasonal and a cyclical trend is that a seasonal trend will be within a short period and it will have its peaks and troughs, and a cyclical trend or a pattern or a relationship is one that we can see over a lengthy period of time, generally speaking over a year, to be able to provide a whole cycle of what trends or patterns exist. Now, predictive analysis is very useful for businesses, as it offers a form of analysis or in-depth analysis to be able to prepare themselves as to what they can expect within the future. Within predictive analysis, a data analyst might typically import their data or ingest their data incrementally, or actually load all of the historical data within their business intelligence tool. The difference is, be in Power BI, for example, you would define parameters that would set a start date and an end date, or a period rather, of how many records you would like to ingest within your reporting based on the timestamp that it has. The reason why that might be significant is I might be requested by a stakeholder to build a dashboard or a paginated report that only contains records within the last 3 to 6 months. And anything that exists before that is not required and not necessary for the analysis. This helps improve the performance within Power BI, and also keeps the story, the narrative of the visualizations that I will build very concise, very clear and coherent. And I think that as a side benefit, it's very vital that when a data analyst is building out a report or a visualization summary, that their pages are very concise and stick to a clear, concise narrative. So the story that they're trying to tell is fluent and it's not overly crowded, it's concise, and it's precisely what the stakeholder is looking for. It's always great to involve yourself in exploratory data and analytical projects, and I think that it's fantastic to be able to discern and decipher and extract new meanings and new insights that could actually be very, very useful for stakeholders. But that is definitely something to be done as a side endeavor, and it can always be used for potential new dashboards and paginated reports and visuals. So always a great exercise for a data analyst to do. Finishing off what I was talking about is that I wanted to add how predictive analytics actually works. And the way that it works is businesses can have historical records that have amounted in huge volumes, and they might also have records that are constantly also coming in new on a continuous basis. So the historical records are growing, and the more historical records a company has, the better predictive analysis they can actually endure. And the reason for that is that any artificial intelligence module or model that a data analyst could build within Power BI or another business intelligence tool, the more reliable the insights will actually be. And the reason for that is because the model is actually using historical trends and patterns and relationships that exist within their data sources in order to reliably forecast insights into the future. And so the less historical records that there are, the less reliable those insights atypically could be. Now, the last category of analytics is prescriptive analytics, which is one of my favorites. And the reason for that is prescriptive analytics is to go one step beyond, and it's the final tier of analytics. In the 4 categories that we're mentioning today, it's the most complex. And the reason for that is because a data analyst that is creating a prescriptive dashboard is really questioning the actions that can be taken from the insights that they've built. An example I'd like to share or use is one of from a recruitment company or a company that works closely with a organization, or it could also be an internal audit of analytics within an organization. Let's say there are staff shortages, or there is a, a rota where members of staff are hired temporarily, contractually, to fulfill a need and requirement for an organization. Now, prescriptive analysis is to be able to look at the data that's available, see how many hours are being fulfilled by contractual and temporary workers, and then going one step beyond by equipping stakeholders with opportunities of employment gaps. So it's really coordinating a line of actions that can be taken departmentally for an organization that is seeking to reduce their costs, their operating costs, and find opportunities for full-time employment simply because a data analyst looked at how they could prescribe a dashboard that grants and warrants actions from a stakeholder to make efficient decisions for an organization. Now, I hope my descriptions and my definitions have been useful. I'd love to hear from anybody that has found this video beneficial and useful and has actually helped them understand any category a data analyst might typically build or construct for an organization. Thank you.